Good morning, and welcome to Strictly Business. I'm your host, Penny Font. This webcast features conversations with Louisiana's most influential CEOs, entrepreneurs, and community leaders, with the goal of providing insights, ideas, and inspiration to help you and your business grow. Strictly Business is brought to you by Neighbors Federal Credit Union, the East Baton Rouge Parish Library, and Insperity. Without their support, this project would not be possible. Before we begin, here is a brief message from each of our sponsors.
The East Baton Rouge Parish Library believes that a thriving business community is good for us all. That's why we help entrepreneurs start businesses with tools like Gale Business Builder. Keep commerce rolling by providing access to computers, printers, and free Wi-Fi at 14 branch locations. Get a library card. Grow your business at ebrpl.com/business.
Owning a business comes with pressure. There's a limit to what I can do and still keep employees engaged. Fortunately, there's Insperity.
They expand my HR capabilities exponentially,
Helping me with hiring and training while offering my employees competitive benefit options.
since I can focus on other priorities, my staff can thrive.
And my business can grow.
With Insperity, nothing seems impossible.
At Neighbors Federal Credit Union, we believe stronger schools build stronger communities. And with the generosity of our members and staff, we're making a difference. We've awarded 54 project grants, totaling over $220,000 for on-campus improvements. We've provided 99 scholarships worth nearly $300,000 to help dreams take flight. And through our mascot checking program, we've donated an additional $560,000 in unencumbered funds to local schools. Neighbors Federal Credit Union. We are neighbors helping neighbors.
Thank you all. We want to keep Strictly Business as interactive as possible. So for those joining us live, here's an icebreaker question for you. Submit your vote in the comments, and the results will be posted at the end of the webcast. This month, we have a special episode featuring 3 Capital Region companies named to the Elite Inc. 5000 list of fastest growing businesses in the country. We're joined this morning by Paola Alvarado, President of Core Specialty Services, Mo Vige, President and CEO of 365 Labs, and Craig Stevens, Founder and President of Genesis 360. Paola, Mo, and Craig, welcome and thank you for being with us this morning. Let's start with your 60-second origin story. What inspired you to start your company, and how has that vision evolved over time? Craig, let's start with you.
Yeah, so I started Genesis 360 in 2011 as a parking lot striping company, still in corporate America. I was still in the military and trying to figure out what the next chapter in my life looked like. And so I thought about parking lot striping for 3 distinct reasons. One, most businesses have a parking lot. 2, the paint to stripe the parking lot it's not expensive, so my profit margin should be very good. And 3, most importantly, the risk factor was low. The worst I'm going to do is paint a crooked line in your parking lot. So those 3 factors made good sense for me to go ahead and start a parking lot striping company, which evolved into doing some building maintenance, ground maintenance, and eventually construction. So we've evolved from parking lot striping in the commercial space to now doing heavy civil construction projects in the commercial space and federal space, and then also IT service.
Okay, thank you. Paola, what about you?
So I'll say the biggest thing, the inspiration of what drove it is, one of it is the passion, and I guess having that big dream where we wanted to be able to create a company for the people, and that's why we even name it Core. The core is the nucleus, which for us, our core is our customers and our team. So, we wanted to be able to create this, and basically, we started our this in 2019. So we just made 5 years in business. We're going to our 6th year. And it's basically that commitment that, we have with our people, and, that's what drives us, with the team.
Okay, thank you. Mo, why a tech company in Louisiana? Louisiana is not generally known for high tech.
Yeah, so this was really, we were trying to solve a problem. My wife came one day and said I had to pay a ticket and I had to go to 3 offices. And at the end of it, they still wouldn't take my money because they didn't have a ticket in their office. And I was like, what company would not want money coming in, or what organization? And I'm like, there's something wrong here. And then I was running an IT company at that time. So we knew a lot of people in public safety and law enforcement. I knew they were all very hardworking people and they do their job right. But we still expect, the perception is the government runs slow. And I'm like, hey, there's a disconnect here, because there are these people who were really hardworking in the uniform and everything. And still, not only in Baton Rouge or Louisiana, nationally, internationally, we just expect and take it for granted that the government's going to run slow. I'm not taking it for granted, but just really feel that way. So I was like, there's a problem, and somebody needs to solve it. And, there should be a good opportunity whenever there's a problem. So that was the origin of 365 Labs, and we started looking into what can be done. So that was, and, sure enough, we're finding out that there's a pretty big problem in there.
Mo, I want to continue with you. You've been on the Inc. 5000 list for 3 consecutive years. What would you say are the top 2 key factors that contributed to your company's rapid growth?
Yep. I think we studied this industry first for a couple of years. We were in a stealth mode and realized that there was if we could define what the real problem was and had put a strategy around it. And then, and if we build products based on that strategy, that could be perceived well in the market. And that's exactly what happened as soon as we came out with our products. And we would showcase to different agencies and public safety organizations. Everybody wanted to sign on. And so that has continued for the last 3 years. In fact, we've been the fastest growing top 2 companies in Louisiana for the last 3 years.
Okay. Paola, can you discuss a pivotal moment that significantly impacted your company's trajectory?
So I'll say, I guess we'll go back to that. For us, it's the COVID. We were a startup, we only had 1 year in business, and then we hit this wall where couldn't really, we do move a lot of people around in between. We have a lot of some of the workforce from Texas where the guys were scared to leave their house because what if they were not being allowed to return back to their families? So it was like a little bit of a thing where we had to make our customers this essential letter that they were really needed for them to come for them and get their equipment back online. So it was this thing, same thing. For us to be able to, we are a people person. We need to go walk, see the equipment. We have to go see what's the problem, troubleshoot. It's not like we can do that remote. So it was a little bit, and have all the protocols in place and all these extra layers and make the slow, it was a slow process, but we just had to trust the process, and this is what's needed. And at the end of the day, we needed other people. So it was, I'll say, being a startup and be able to evolve and even grow during that year, it was a challenge.
Craig, how did you initially fund your business, and what financing strategies have you employed now as you've grown?
Yeah, so when I started Genesis 360 in 2011, I was, again, still in corporate America, and I had some stocks. So I cashed in $60,000 in stocks. And for me, it was, if this doesn't work out, this is going to get me through at least 1 year, maybe. I can still take care of my family. So I had a little bit of cash, and then my business model employed very little overhead, right? So like I mentioned before, there was not a lot of inventory. Paint was very inexpensive. This parking lot striping machine was very, but not a lot of overhead. And I was doing the work myself on nights and weekends. So that helped me scale and generate more cash than a typical business that has a lot of inventory or have a lot of people. And so having stocks, having a model that allowed me to generate cash fast really tremendously helped. And then also, I've learned that you want to try to establish relationships with banks to get lines of credit. So even more importantly, when you don't need it, right? So when you don't need the money, build those relationships, get those lines. So when you do need it, you have it available. So that's been our strategy.
Paola, what challenges did you face during your company's growth, and how have you overcome them?
So I'll say for us, biggest challenge is be able to increase our customer clientele. So I don't want to see we have overcome this challenge. But it's not an issue either. I see it as part of the business process. We're still working on this and we evolve with it, but it's our thing every day. Yeah.
What about you, Mo?
Well, so in this industry, like I said, it's difficult to find the right talent here. And it's not that we don't have computer science graduates. In fact, the issue is the kind of talent you need is somebody who has experience. And most of the time, by the time the students from LSU or Southeastern are, they get some experience, they've already left the state. So bringing them back was a big challenge, how to get them to believe in a vision from a smaller city. Second was also, going to San Francisco or New York and telling them, hey, we have a solution for you from Baton Rouge. Okay. And that was a little bit of we had to sell them strong that, trust us that though we're in Louisiana, but we can solve New York and San Francisco's problems. So these were the kind of issues which were coming more frequently. We hired people who could speak the language of our clients, be law enforcement officers. So that was and then also, we started to build and we're still building almost a tech center in Baton Rouge, trying to make it cool for the youngsters also to say there is something happening in Baton Rouge and let's try to do it here.
So how do you maintain your company culture amid rapid expansion?
Yeah, so it's not easy to work with this next generation, not because they're doing something wrong, it's just their different mindset, right? And often you go with the cultural flag and you realize that you are the ones who end up doing more compromises. And sometimes those are strategic, temporary compromises to bring them on board. And it's just, how they've been raised, the values they've been raised with. And you start telling them there's an alternate view of looking at things till you stay. And you also tell them that we accept your ideas too. And, whenever you're transparent and tell them why it's important to work in a certain way because you have to make money at the end, show them that we're not making money or we're making money. And they have a part in it and they have a stake in it. So also bringing them this generation is, they want stake in the game itself. They're like, hey, if we're also entrepreneurs. We work here, but we're entrepreneurs and treat us like that. And once you start putting a culture like that, you can bring the entire team with you. That's what we're saying.
Good advice. Craig, you've taken on some major projects. How do you identify and capitalize on market opportunities?
Yeah, we have a procurement team in our office that's what they do every day, all day, is look for opportunities on federal government site like SAM.gov and on other sites for commercial clients locally and nationally. So you have to have somebody that's really, really focused on a team of people that's focused on looking for those opportunities. Because sometimes there's a lot of low-hanging fruits out there that if you don't search them out, you'll never be made aware of them. And then other times there's opportunities that may be outside of your geographic area that you currently operate, but it just makes all the sense in the world to go after opportunity, build relationships in that market, and continue to expand that market.
Paola, what about you?
So I'll say most of our business, it usually either comes from our same recurring customers or referrals. But so what we do, we stay on top of our customers. We're there. We don't wait for the opportunity to come. So we're always like checking in. And you just, we're there, identified it, executed, and, get it done. And then we do it again, and we do it again, and we do it again. So it's like the non-stopping, taking care of that, customer.
I like that. Mo, what strategies have you used to differentiate your company from competitors?
Yeah, so, in a certain way, there was multiple things, but one thing was we thought that, okay, what's not your strength? And we kind of felt like, hey, coming out as a tech company out of Louisiana is not our strength, but we kind of reversed that and said, hey, but, we have the biggest criminal justice problems in our state. So, and that's what we're starting with Louisiana. So if we can help them, we can help you. So we kind of, turned it around and said, okay, so how can we use, second was, we started looking into, that the whole idea selling of that let's educate you first as a client and tell them that, what we've learned over 20 years working with this industry, not as part of this company, but previous company, but we have some experience, and let's first educate you that why a comprehensive system or a bigger system can make things streamlined for you. So educating people, pulling them in as, as equals, and kind of having them more as a consultant than a client, and saying, you tell us what you need and we'll do it. So those strategies kind of helped us.
Gotcha. Craig, what about you?
Yeah, Peter, I'm gonna start out by saying, look, I lived throughout the U.S. and I lived overseas in my military journey, and any place I live, Louisiana is the most relationship-based place by far, right? And so, number one, I think the key differentiating factor for us has been we've been working really hard to build a brand, a reputable brand, and that takes years. That takes years of just constantly working with platforms like the business report, social media, and just getting that message out there of who we are and building brand. And then number two is what I just mentioned was the relationships, continuously building relationships, and that's through attending industry day events, through doing lunch and learns, continue to reach people through the social media platforms. So just continue to build their relationships with our current customers, more importantly, but also try to establish relationships with new customers.
Thank you. Paola, how do you approach talent acquisition and retention in a fast-growing environment?
So basically, we try to always hire skilled people. But, when this is not the case, then we try to always, grow the people within the company. And that's what, it also helps with the retention of the people. When, hey, you started more like a labor type, and then, we put them to kind of like a mentor on the side, and that's how they work by the side, and they coach them. And then from there, when we see they have, their candidate to take that, then, we offer that training. So, but we like to, we do see that, once people come, they like to stay, they like the culture. So, but.
Okay, great. Mo, how do you do this in a competitive tech sector?
Yeah, so we try to pair our engineers with, literally world-class trainers and mentors. We bring them in or send our people there, and then there's almost kind of, and give them challenges which are pretty, it's good challenging work, so where they can apply themselves and their potential and let them release their potential in a very guided environment. So that's something that has inspired and motivated people to stay with us. Second is also letting them know that as they develop, they have stake in our business. And those two combinations have really kind of, help us, compete with our much bigger brand names that we deal with.
I gotcha. Craig, what metrics do you prioritize to measure your company's success?
I have three things that myself and my vice president focus on. And the three things are growing revenue, managing costs, and building a dream team. And so growing revenue, we want to scale at a fast pace. So that's, important. We keep eye on the ball in that aspect. Managing costs, If you don't manage costs, you doesn't matter how much money you bring in, right? It's about how much you keep. And so it's very critical that we are equally aligned on managing all the costs throughout the company and then building a dream team. No matter how much revenue you have, no matter how much you manage costs, if you don't have a team to execute the vision, then it's almost impossible. So if we can simultaneously attain all three of those of growing revenue, managing costs, and building a dream team, that is success. That is true success for us. And then everything outside of that is just noise.
I love that strategy. Paola, what about you?
So ours is a little bit different. So the number one metrics is safety. Because of what the services that we provide in the sector where we're at, we do have a strong, safety culture and program in place. And this is, breathed out from top to bottom across the organization, because without it, we're not in business. Number two, it's provide our job in a time of matter. So we're a lot of kind of like a first responders, but for our industry. So when we get the call, we do measure being there, within less than 24 hours to address the problem, and then also be able to execute the jobs in a timely manner. And number three, it's be able to provide the jobs within budget. We're transparent, and that's the key factor. If we put our shoes in our customer's shoes, so it's the thing. Same thing. We want to be in a budget; they want to be in a budget too. Yeah.
Thank you. I want to ask all three of you this question. How has your leadership style adapted as your company has grown? Mo, let's start with you.
Sure. So I think first is just having to work with a lot of Gen Zs and millennials. I think it's made me more humble. You become more patient. And again, not in a negative way, but you start seeing their perspective, and you start seeing, despite the fact that they are half your age, but they have a voice, and they have their own ideas. So you start learning you have to bring. They're all your colleagues. The age doesn't matter. You have to bring them with you, and you have to listen to them. So it's a lot more listening, a lot more being part of the team than to being just a leader. Now there are times when you have to still tell them who's the boss, but it's rare. It's less frequent now, for sure.
That's great. Craig, what about you?
Yeah, I'm not sure if my leadership style has changed much over the years. I've always been a person that demanded the best from the people who work with and for me. But most importantly, I always try to put the team in a place that they can win, where they can win personally and professionally. And when they win, we all win. So I think putting them in the right position and realizing that God created each one of us the way we are for a certain reason, right? Doesn't mean that we can't get better or become more refined in our leadership style or leadership approach, but recognizing that my leadership style is not for everyone, but ultimately I have to remain true to the person that I am.
That's awesome. Paola, what about you?
So I do want to say that I am the person who leads by example. I'm not the kind of person who I'm just gonna come and dictate, hey, expect everybody to be on time. I'm gonna be the first one there. If I want everybody to execute to their fullest, or their work on their atmospheres where they're happy, that's at the end of the day, I feel that that's the culture, and that's the group who you want to be surrounded with, and this is where they either fit with the team or they're going to repel, and they're going to be the opposite. So it's just leading by the example, and I think it's that's what makes the best fit for the culture.
Absolutely. Another question for all three of you. What advice would you give to entrepreneurs aiming for rapid growth? Mo, let's start with you.
Sure. So I think a lot of times entrepreneurs start thinking the idea is the greatest thing. and I think ideas are overrated. They should be. It's very important to understand that it's going to take a lot from them. The discipline needs to be there, and discipline not for a short period, for long periods. And sometimes, often, and entrepreneurs want that things will happen very quickly. Well, and this is an average overnight success story takes 22 years in making. So maybe not 22 years, but this is a longer path. So the ability to and focus on things, stay focused on having setting priorities is important. So you won't be able to do everything. So set your priorities and focus on things that you need to do.
Great. Paola, what about you?
So I'll say, first of all, be able to have a clear vision. Where you going? Like, don't do what you do just to do it. Like, you have to know where you're going. And then number two is be the work. Go, and whatever you do, it has to be towards where you're going, and kind of like what Mo said, you have to have the discipline, consistency, and, do it again and do it again. And sometimes do not listen to everybody or the negativity. Whatever's negative, get rid of that and just coach and bring in what's positive. It's not going to be easy, but you're going to get there. Sometimes it might take shorter time, sometimes it might get longer, but it's the consistency.
I love that. Craig, what about you?
Yeah, I just piggyback on what Paola said on, first of all, let's make sure that this is your calling. This is what you're called to do, because entrepreneurship is not for the faint at heart. So once you identify that, you find mentors. Every stage, every chapter of my life, I've been fortunate to be blessed with great mentors who I've learned from the mistakes of. So don't try to reinvent the wheel. Find mentors that will help you get to where you need to be. Next, build a village, right? As a business, you need bankers, you need attorneys, you need insurance agents. You need a village to help you be successful. So build relationship with not people just inside your organization, but outside your organization. And then one of the big factors for us that helped us tremendously is strategic partnerships. So finding partnerships with companies that you would invite to your wedding, right? Companies that you can trust. And so finding companies that you can partner and grow with will help you scale much faster than try to do it on your own. And there's a quote that I often have to remind myself on, and it says, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. And so I think that's very key in growing a business at a rapid pace.
Lots of great advice there. Thank you all. Paola, how do you ensure service quality during periods of rapid expansion?
So something, I guess, for us, or the type of work we do, we're on top of the regulations. We have local regulations and state, and also, we abide by some global regulations. So we don't deviate. If we're going to do the work, we always go by the book. And if not, we just transparently say it's not us the right person to do the job. So, and at the end of the day, this is what this transparency, and this is what you build that trust in the relationship with the customer, and this takes you long ways, no shortcuts.
Absolutely. Mo, how do you stay ahead of industry trends and disruptions?
Yeah. So I think probably the same for everybody here. I would believe that everybody likes to read. You have to see what's going on around you, especially these days. And, so again, attend industry events, conferences, participate in them. I travel a lot. I would do ride-alongs with police officers sometimes, just to know how they're doing their business, or how they treat people, what happens. So it's always, you cannot what people are doing on the street, and then what's happening in the tech world or in the research labs. You bring this together and say, this is how can we help these people with the direct aids.
Interesting, very insightful. Craig, what about you?
Yeah, so the biggest disruptor for most businesses globally is AI. Right? right? And so for me, it's how do I stay close to some of the talent who's working on AI daily? And in the construction space, AI has been very slow to, to penetrate, but it's only a matter of time. But just IT in general, it's very fast moving. And so what I do is what I've done is been fortunate to become the board members for LSU Computer Science, and so there is some really good talent there. And I think Mo, you on the board as well, and so there's some really good talent there, and be able to tap into some of that talent before they hit the marketplace. I think it's going to be it's a very kingdom opportunity for us.
Thank you. Paola, how do you handle competition from larger, more established companies?
So on us, we do not see it as a competitor. We see them as a customer. These larger competitors, they're looking for other smaller businesses that are expert on this area. So at the end of the day, it's like a strategy. We're going to be more competitive on the sense, we could, we don't have this big overhead, so we could do it, cheaper or more affordable. And then on the same thing, because of just being a slimmer organization, you get stuff executed and done fast. So, we do partner with them.
I love that perspective. Craig, you just went through an acquisition. What's your perspective on this?
So first of all, I think you have to find a way when it comes to large companies, find a way to partner and add value if it makes sense, right? If you can partner them, add value, and then it's a win for both parties. The advantage of being a smaller company is that we're nimble. We can move a lot faster, make decisions a lot faster than larger organizations. But most importantly, was what Paola said. It's focusing on the customer, not necessarily the competition, and that's what I think that's what really moves the needle forward. Is there's always be competition, but a lot of times, as I said earlier, it's just notice. It's what does the customer want, and how can you add value to the customer?
I have a question for all three of you again. What lessons have you learned from any failures or setbacks? Craig, let's start with you.
Yeah, I think the first thing that I would do if I had to do this all over is hire an exec. My very first hire. For me, starting out, it was like I'm going to hire an administrative assistant. She or he will be able to take a lot of this minutia off my plate. But as I've grown, I've learned that business can be very lonely. As an executive, it can be very lonely, and I would grow faster and have someone to be able to better bounce ideas off of if I had an executive that had understood the vision and knew where we were trying to go, and we could do it together. So I would do that all over. If I had to do it all over, that's what I would do. But the other thing is that I think is important is you have to embrace falling, right? And I didn't say failing, I said falling, because I believe that everything that happens to me is for me, and it presents opportunities for me to grow and learn and become the best version of myself. So just embracing the times when you're going to really fall and fall hard. But I've learned more from my times that I fell than I did from all the times that I've been quote unquote successful.
Some really great insights there. Thank you. Paola, what about you?
Okay, so I'll say, on course, time of business, I cannot picture something where we have really a failure, okay? But if I go back to, this is not the first business I start. I can say as a business owner, a lesson learned from the other past, 4 or 5 businesses that I've done in the past. I learned that if you have this big vision and you want to be able to execute it, you have to have full control in it, okay? Think that because of partnership, other things that happened in the past, I was not able to fulfill it. Or you have other people that have a bigger say so, or, don't let you do what you believe on. So, that's the kind of like the, biggest thing. And I'll say, at the beginning, you don't know what you don't know, but I'll say if I would have started more like with, delegated or took other things out of my plate in the early times, we probably have been, in another level. But, it's part of the business. You don't want, it's your baby and you're forming it, and you just don't want to let go on it.
Understand. Mo, what about you?
Yeah. So I think the couple of lessons that, just come in the last few years are, number one is under promise and over deliver. And we've realized that sometimes when you're starting business in the initial years, you want to do everything, you think you can do everything, and you convey it that way. And sometimes that can be misinterpreted. And so it's important to let people know what your limitations are and make sure that, you can over deliver. So that's one part on the client side. That also on your people side is important to, especially the complex businesses today, no one single person can do anything. So it has to be teams. And especially in small businesses, when the teams are small, every person is a key person. And if that person is somehow pulled out or leaves the team, that starts affecting them. So there's a realization that, you have to very carefully build your scale of growth, where you need to have, because people will, make their own decisions. People will find new opportunities. You can't control it. And so you need to have the ability to cover them when this happens. So these two lessons really stood out.
Great. Thank you. As we come to a close, could each of you give us the single greatest piece of advice you've received as it pertains to business, and share how it's been a game changer for your company? Paola, let's start with you.
I'll say, my biggest thing of advice is don't lose that passion, don't lose that energy or that big, the brightness of your eyes that you had the day you started. You got to be able to pass it on every day. And if you have to put like a big thing hanging in your office every day where, we can't get, it's a lot of noise out there, like, Craig says, but, you can't, lose the reason, the why.
I love that. Thank you. Craig, what about you?
Yeah, don't be afraid to evolve. Consistently evolve as the customer to fulfill the customer's needs. So, for us, starting out as a parking lot striping company, then going to a maintenance company, then construction, IT, that was an evolution by the customer asking us, can you provide this service? We said yes. Can you provide this service? We said yes. And you kept saying yes, and you evolve as the customer needs you to evolve. And even more so, more recently, with we've evolved into, we have what we call 6 pillars, where we have integrated vendor management, construction management, IT management, supply management, staff augmentation, and then payroll management. So management is the key word, because we've come to realize that our core competency, out of all these things we do, our core competency is the management side, and it's key and it's critical to success of with any type of service or product that you have. You have to have a really good management platform, and that's where we're scaling and continue to evolve into. So just constantly evolving as the customer needs you to evolve.
You've had some impressive involvement. Thank you for sharing that. Mo, what about you?
Yeah, so I think there's nothing wrong in dreaming big. In fact, entrepreneurs should dream big, but then they should put some, the execution plans behind it. And planning very carefully is very, very important on a long-term basis. You should know where you're going. I have a favorite quote that says, "Vision without the execution is hallucination." So, I like that one a lot. But when the plans are set in motion, at that point, don't be afraid to make gut decisions. So in a day-to-day transaction, sometimes you work with your gut feelings. So it comes so it's a full circle back.
Lots of great advice from all of you. Craig, Paola, and Mo, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you.
Welcome.
It's
My
our
pleasure.
pleasure.
And thanks also to our viewers for tuning in, as well as our sponsors, Neighbors Federal Credit Union, the East Baton Rouge Parish Library, and Insperity for making this experience possible. Please join us again for the March 19th episode of Strictly Business. Until then, on behalf of our show's director, Tim Coles, and me, enjoy and make your day a great one.